Alright, hey guys, Mitch here from the AudioDabbler YouTube channel, and I'm going to start looking at BM3 in a little nuggets of knowledge kind of way. And so today I'm going to look at the effects and all the different places and all the different ways you can kind of use different effects throughout the app. So let's get started with that. So right first you can do global bank effects. And here's a list of built-in effects right here. You've got pans, bit crushers, delays. You got dynamic processor, which is some limiters or expanders or compressors. You got some different kinds of reverbs. You have some modulation delays, would be your phasers. You got some overdrive. You can invert the phase. You got some different filters. You got a slicer, and then some other stereo effects. Plus, you can do audio units and inter-app audio effects. Okay, so whenever you're on bank A and you add an effect, it's going to affect every pad that's triggered is going to be routed through bank A. Okay, but what if you want to load up a sample? So let's load up a sample on one. Let's just load up a timpani. Okay, so we got that timpani sound. And what if I wanted to bit crush just the timpani? Well, right now you can hear it going through the effect, but if I add another effect here to bit crush it, it's going to bit crush everything. So there's a little 16 dots right here at the top that you click on it, and then you'll get the option to select the timpani. Now it's not showing the rest of them because there's nothing in there, but if I loaded up another sample here in pad 2, let's just load this tom up right here. Then when I go to the effects, then I get, select pad, I get the timpani and the tom. So let's select the tom, and then let's put a delay on the tom. Alright, and then we can go select the timpani and let's add the bit crusher. Okay, let's go back here. So you can hear the timpani is bit crushed, the tom is delayed, but they're all running through this bank A reverb. And if we wanted to modulate the everything, then we could okay, so to kind of go over that again, you have bank A has its own set of effects. That's going to affect everything in the bank. And then individually, if you have a sample loaded onto a pad, you're able to add in individual effects to those certain pads. Okay. Plus, inside the sampler itself, you have these different layer effects. You have a bit crusher, overdrive, a phase inverter, and a filter. So you can further shape the sounds of the filter. And what the layers are is, if I go here, I add in another layer. So I go over here to my samples and say I want to add in kind of an impact to the tom. Then I could drag it over, but down here at the bottom it says add to new layer, or you can replace the sample. So if I wanted to add it to a new layer, okay, so now I have 2 layers in this wood pad. Both of those layers are being affected by the whatever effects are on this single top layer, plus what's on effects on the bank A. Okay, so whatever's affected, so both of these layers are both being processed with the tom effects that's on this individual channel here, the delay, plus it's being affected by the whatever's on this channel, which is the bank A, which is kind of the global effects for the bank A. Okay, so now you get into the layer effects. of this certain sample here, so I can do different layer effects on impact that's not going to affect layer 1. And then I can do different effects here that's not going to affect the layer 2. So right now we have an effect on each of these layers via the layer effect. And then on top of that, we have some effects on this certain pad. And on top of that, we have effects on the entire bank. Now, you can also put effects, if you go down here to the channel strip, kind of main mixer, you can put effects. If you select the main out, you can put a global effect kind of on the main output. So if I wanted to kind of compress the entire output, then you can do that. Okay. Also, you have different aux channels, and so if I wanted to put an effect on the aux channel, say I wanted to put some auto pan, let's try that on aux 1, then I have a couple options to get the effect to aux 1. I could do send right here, and that's going to send everything that's bank A is going to send all of its audio to the aux 1, and it's going to get processed by whatever's on the aux 1 channel. Or I can take that off and say I double click on bank A, and that's going to bring me up to this mixer right here, and I can send just the timpani to aux 1, and the tom is not going to be affected. And I'll show you that here. See, you can hear the auto pan on the timpani, but you shouldn't hear it on there. I think some of that is because of the flanger. You can hear it on the timpani, but you can't hear it. So I'll just show you in the window. Let me go back out. See how I can hit the timpani and it's going to aux 1. But if I go back and select the tom and then go back in, it's not going to aux 1 because I don't have it sending to there. So a whole bunch of different ways you can route, and you can, route different effects to different things. So kind of, I guess I'll go back over just a quick recap. You have layer effects, which is limited. I know some people have put in some requests or thought about, some requests on like some EQs or whatever, but you can kind of get around not having some EQs just by doing several different SV filters, because basically a EQ is just a group of filters, and so you could do a high pass. You kind of shape the sound with just the filters, which would be fine. But standard EQ would be nice as well, all in one. But so you have layer effects, which affects the individual layers on the certain pad, and then inside of that you have pad effects, which is a whole list of all of the different effects that you can do to the actual bank, including AUs and inter-app audio effects. And then you also have the bank effects. You can put effects on the master out, or you can also put effects on the auxiliaries, and I think you can have 8 auxiliary channels. And within those auxiliary channels, you can put your own effects. Plus, you can either send a whole bank of sounds to those aux channels, or you can just send individual pads to those. So you can have a whole lot of options for routing effects and everything. So this app is just so deep, and I'm just really enjoying myself diving in and figuring out all the little intricacies that they've done. Attention to detail is probably the 3 words that I would use to describe this app the best. Attention to detail. So just every little thing is very, very thought out, very well placed, once you kind of know where it's at, then it's a breeze. So anyway, thanks for watching. Please just continue to like, comment, and subscribe to my channel if you're not, and share it on your favorite social media. I do have a Patreon, and leave a comment below if there's any little nuggets of knowledge that you'd like for me to dive in more. I plan on going over the song scenes and patterns probably next, and then I plan on using one of these pads to use it kind of like a wavetable synthesizer. So stay tuned, and I will talk to you guys later.